Should we buy or sell Riot Blockchain? So first off, read this disclaimer carefully. Here is their pretty cool website, Bitcoin Mining for America. So it's a blockchain mining company. So yeah, this was one of the first ways for people to easily get exposure to Bitcoin. So yeah, it still is very much heavily traded. There are ETFs for Bitcoin now. But yeah, let's have a look at this company. So it is 7% from the 52-week low, 85% away from the highs. Here is the big picture chart, weekly data points, and we have fallen down to a potentially low and very key support level. We have support from these highs, support from this cluster back here as well. So this is a very interesting level. What is even more interesting is that we do have something that looks a lot like a double bottom in development. Left bottom and right bottom. So it's a double bottom. Double bottoms, they can work really well. Obviously, they do not have a 100% success rate. So the coming week is a huge deal. If we close below the candlesticks of 27th of June here and also the 5th of July, that would be bad. Those candlesticks should not be. So basically, bulls must rally from the current level. This low here from late June, early July, it's a super key support level. Getting below that level would really open up the door for a significant downside for Riot. Looking at weekly RSI, we are bouncing from a key low level. Previous times we tested this low level, like back here. We did eventually get a very spectacular rally. Also back here, let's go back to this depressed period. Also a key low, and this is a period where you had a super spike in Riot Blockchain. So hypothetically speaking, the upside could be significant. From this high to this high, we're talking about, approaching 2000%. Obviously, that would be a lot of fun. Looking at the daily data points, we are bouncing from RSI support. If we look, at the bigger picture here for RSI in particular, there is a tendency for us to bounce from the low region and then experiment a bit the higher regions of RSI. That's been the dynamic. So this is interesting, very much an interesting opportunity here for Riot Blockchain at a very low level. So I write double bottom and a 7 to the bulls on the technicals. The 7 is of course dependent on this double bottom holding. If we were to flip this to a resistance level, that would be pretty bad. At least if you are a bull. Let's look at the seasonality. To the left here, over the last 10 years in red, 5 years in green, and 7 years in blue, it doesn't look that bullish. Looking here to the right, the seasonality for December. If we go back the last 5 years, it's not that bullish. When we go back here to 2017, you can see that December can be a pretty bad month. For January, it's messy. It can be bad, also good. So, but the most, 2022 was not good, so it sort of messes up the green streak we had from 2019 to 2021. I will give this one to the Bears. With the -5, the seasonality here was simply not that good for December and January. It had a bit of a hit this year that could be an issue for 2023. Let's look at the fundamentals. So we go pretty far back. You can see that the price book ratio, and if we zoom in here to get the price to sales, we are at a relatively low level. So you could make a case that there is value here. If we look here at the forecasts for the stock, 9 analysts have a 1-year price target. The minimum price target is 43% above us. The highest is 258% above, and the average is 156% above us. So the price targets here are definitively very bullish. A strong buy here from the analysts. Here you have some earnings per share development. Definitively been a change there. Here you have some ideas from the community. This is a great example of a very messy chart. It's valuable to use the indicators, but always be modest. Yeah, seems like the community is a bit mixed here. Okay. I will give Riot a 6 here on the fundamentals. It looks pretty good. Here I am comparing Riot Blockchain against the S&P 500, and we see that there is a 62% positive correlation, 88% with Bitcoin, and against Ethereum we are at 66% long term. Daily data points, 51% with S&P 500, 64% with Bitcoin, and 82% with Ethereum. It seems like the strongest correlation short and long term is with Bitcoin. Not a huge shocker there. Yeah, let's look at Bitcoin like that. So on these weekly data points, we have seen a couple of weeks now, 3-ish of us climbing here. We are still not making a whole lot of progress vis-a-vis the massive red candlestick here from early November, but at least the bulls they're not giving up. But I would ideally like to see higher levels of ambition, basically. Looking at the daily data points, we are seeing progress being made, but the real progress day was on the 30th of November. Ever since, we are basically just going sideways, almost like cautiously looking at what the bears are doing. Are they going to short again? Are there bulls waiting to just get out? Who knows? But this is very weak. It's more bullish than bearish, but the bull level is pretty low. Far away from being overbought on the weeklies. On the dailies, there's no excuse really for the weakness of the rally. The seasonality here to the left looks bullish into late December. When we look at the performance of December, you can see that the most recent developments over the last 5 years is not that bullish, however. So December is not a particularly bullish month, at least as of late. December is just a mess. It's been very bullish, but also very bearish. And looking at all of this data here back to 2015, December has been more bearish than bullish. I mean, January has been more bearish than bullish. Now let's look at some relative performance. So I'm going to compare Riot Blockchain with Bitcoin. Like that. So yeah, when the blue line here on the bottom goes up, it means that Riot is outperforming Bitcoin and vice versa. So with this weekly data point, we see that Riot has recently underperformed Bitcoin. We are not at like a screaming buy level on the RSI here on the weeklies. On the dailies, we are approaching the low end of RSI. You can see that there's a pretty clear pattern when it comes to this dance between Bitcoin and Riot. Let's look at these time cycles. At least recently, we have had these pretty clear time cycles. Even back here, you can see a rise, decline, rise, decline. So it seems like Riot Blockchain and Bitcoin can be used in pairs trading. Looking at the seasonality for the pair, Riot usually underperforms Bitcoin, both looking here at December and also January. In this case, I will give a 1 on relative performance. We end up with 2.3 here to the bulls. We are at a double bottom. That is the key level to watch. It should be able to attract bulls. If this key double bottom is not able to do that, then there could be substantial downside here for Riot Blockchain. So the coming weeks will be a pretty big deal. I'm definitively looking at a bullish trade here for Riot, but I know where I want my stop levels because it's a pretty epic moment now in the crypto community, because we have numerous major cryptos now that have seen some support from the bulls, but not enough to really scare the bears. So it's very much like a Western movie now, where we have the bull and the bear hovering over their gun, and who is going to pull first. That's basically what we are looking for. We have some time left. Let's look at various exciting stocks that are sort of related to this whole anti-establishment finance landscape, which includes cryptos, but also various stocks like Build-A-Bear. It's one of those that went on like a huge rally during the meme war on Wall Street. We have seen a pretty strong move here recently from Build-A-Bear. So seems like a lot of the bull move has been made, begging the question, is this a shorting opportunity? When it comes to weekly RSI, we are very high, but we have actually been a bit higher during previous furious rallies. If we go here to the daily data points, if you look here at the MACD and also the RSI here, and those of course the PPO, we are very high, but there actually have been these times where we went even higher. But overall, this is more favorable for bearish than bullish trades. Looking at the seasonality for December, looking back the last 5 years here to the right in the table, it actually has been a strong month. Then again, we have seen very substantial strength recently. Looking at January also over the last 5 years, it's been a bit bullish. Been a bit bullish indeed. Let's look at the fundamentals. So here is the price book ratio and the price to sales and the PE. We are pretty elevated, so there's not much value here in Build-A-Bear. So it's gone a bit too much, too fast. So I think that overall it's sort of more in a bearish direction, very much fitting with the name of the company. The analyst price targets. Oh, okay. So there's one analyst with a 1-year price target, which is 28.6% above us, but that's not much to go on. Yeah. Yeah, so I think that from a technical perspective here, and also looking at, well, the seasonality was, however, a bit bullish. The fundamentals, though, were pretty clear. I mean, this stock is very much indeed overvalued, looking at price book, price to sales. And I really like these indicators because we are comparing the stock against itself. If we go back here, this is the previous time where we had similar price book and price to sales. This was back in 2014. And that actually began a downtrend that lasted. Let's actually look at how that's a very long-term downtrend. So here we were very overvalued on price book and price sales. and the downtrend lasted almost 2,000 days. That is one heck of a downtrend. That is a long time for a stock to get the froth out. Yeah, so we looked at Riot Blockchain. We also looked at Bitcoin, and we also looked at Build-A-Bear. Build-A-Bear looks like a short candidate. It could go higher based on some of the previous technical readings, but it is very elevated. And the previous time we had this very much high valuation, we had a very long-term downtrend for the stock. So yeah, whatever you do, of course, let the trend be your friend and use stops.